Díos Marie Vicarja. Tá fíor áthas arm bheith an seo, an jobh ag seola an leabhar iar-speisialta seo, the Moon and Báinín. Le Matt Mooney, leabhar 203 ó chuir tús lenar Johnscadal fáilte thabhairt de phobal, sa lá an scríb Nóirí Limní. Hello everyone, I'm delighted to be here this afternoon for the release of Matt Mooney's 7th poetry collection, The Moon and Báinín. Is misha Tomás Quillon agus is misha Agahorn Filiaxa Le Revival Press, which is the poetry imprint of the Limerick Writers' Centre. Just to say a few short words about what we do at Limerick Writers' Centre, mostly focusing on our community publishing programme. We have been working hard to make a mark in the world of literature, starting in Limerick City but spreading beyond that, trying to bring book ideas and writing to people of all ages since 2008. This afternoon we celebrate our 203rd publication. We trace our lineage from the legendary era of weekly readings which became known as the White House Poetry Revival in the early 2000s, and this tradition had its roots in the Poetry Circle founded by Desmond O'Grady in the White House Bar in 1954. In our programme we focus on creating high quality short-run titles that anyone can pick up and enjoy. We encourage all writers, whether you're pursuing a serious career or just writing for fun, seeking healing or striving for personal growth. Our publishing philosophy centres on service rather than on self-promotion. We believe literature should exist to enrich readers' lives, to promote understanding and to foster connection and community. This service-oriented approach guides all of our decisions, from manuscript selection to design choices to community engagement. Whether it's a poem, a novel, a memoir, a short story or a song, we think every creative endeavour is valuable and deserves to be shared, enjoyed and remembered through performance and publication. We have adopted the words of John Millington Synge as our motto, that poetry must have its roots in the clay and soil of our communities. Our goal is to make exciting literature more accessible, to celebrate the wisdom and lived experience of real people in Ireland today in their own words. We like to remind new writers and readers not to worry, that these are skills you can learn, and with practice your inner artist will start to shine through. Modern poetry, of course, has its roots in ancient oral traditions where bards served as community storytellers, historians and spiritual guides. We recognise poetry's kinship with ritual and sacred practices across cultures. Like prayer or meditation, we think poetry offers a structured way to engage with deeper truths, to connect with ancestral wisdom and transcend everyday consciousness. We value work that acknowledges this lineage and approaches writing as a practice with spiritual dimensions. Over the years, we've produced a wide range of works, from poetry and short stories to novels, histories, memoirs, and a variety of mixed prose. We are proud that our books capture snapshots of living and evolving culture, and that they will last for many years to come as a record of the events, people, places, feelings, and ideas of our times. We hope that this legacy will be passed on to future generations to build on these foundations. We like our books to serve as talismans which might inspire further poetic creations. We believe that poetry and literature offer resistance against dehumanisation in all of its forms, a resistance that cannot be colonialised by authoritarian forces. Sometimes we look within ourselves, at our hometown, our nation, or at events with a global scope and how they reflect on the human condition. The words in the book that we're launching today are a superb exemplar of our values in the Limerick Writers' Centre. In this book, we are taken on a journey through 59 pieces of incredible imagery, opening with views of real and imagined and magical locations, looking up to find moments of tranquility, of hope, lán dóchais, but also moments of loss. This book is an exploration of life and nature, of the mind, the body and the world, and interlaces languages beautifully to give us glimpses of fateful moments, at eras that end and things that endure. Of course, as most of you know, Matt is originally from Kilcrease, Cúns na Gaillimhe, and now resides here in Listowel. As well as his 6 previous collections, his poetry has appeared in an impressive array of literary journals and anthologies here and abroad, with numerous pieces longlisted for awards and competitions. In 2018, he won the Pádraig Lia Ó Cathaoir Irish Language Poetry Award. He is the deputy editor of the Galway Review and holds the role of Clérach na Cúirte Filíochta, which will be celebrated tomorrow with the gathering of Filí na Gaeilge. So with all that said, on behalf of Revival Press and Limerick Writers Centre, Gurb Míle Maith Matt as an deis a thuirteáin de chuid scríbhne orta a Curry Glow. Thanks to Listowel Library for hosting this event as part of a fabulous lineup of events this week. And thanks as well to Eamon O Murchu for the words that he will soon share with us. Finally, just a special thanks to the rest of the team at Limerick Writers Centre, especially Moira Baragry for her design work. I think you'll all agree that the book turned out beautiful. And thanks as well to Dominic Taylor, who put special effort into this book as well. I would encourage everyone here to pick up a copy to support the author and his work, but also to support other Revival Press writers. But more than that, it is a beautiful collection that is worth reading and rereading. Gurb Míle Maith.
Good night, Iliv, Revival Press. It is now my great privilege to introduce a person that needs no introduction in this stall. He is Listowel go Smer, Listowel na Féile ó Smer. His father was the first chair of Writers' Week. That's what it was called at the time, and that's what I'm calling it now. Louis O Murchu, a short story writer, a Gael goer, a great man. Even if he was from County Armagh, we'll still call him a great man. Eamon is a Gael goer, a mentor, a facilitator, in his own way, a philosopher. Eamon O Murchu with Haran Shaw.
Excuse me. It's a great privilege to be here this morning. It's always good to come back to the Listowel, but I think this particular occasion is very, very special indeed. And I would like at the beginning to echo what Father Brendan and Elizabeth have said. And that's to pay very, very sincere congratulations to the Shanachri, to Writers' Week and to St. John's for the magnificent way in which they have got together and planned a superb programme for us this week. They deserve great credit, and I have no doubt at all that considering the atmosphere that's in the town at the moment, it will continue to go from strength to strength. I'm also delighted that Gabriel Fitzmaurice is here to keep an eye on me. I know Gabriel for many, many years, a moonsoil, a poet, a scailge, a spearle. He's also a rogue. He also has published many, many wonderful anthologies. He has written for children, and he's a musician, and I could go on and on. But more than anything else, he is indeed somebody that we're very fond of, very proud of, and always delighted to meet. Indeed, when Matt came to Listowel, it was he and Michael Hartnett that were a huge inspiration to him at the time. And Gabriel continues to support Matt in every way possible. Indeed, the other day, when Matt was speaking to me, he said, Gabriel Fitzmaurice was my guru from the beginning. He took me on board when I came to Kerry. I had something to graft on. His paucity of words and respect for the locality and its people have always inspired me. Maidil le Matt Hain, Cara na Galad, agus ord vasagoingot mar Cara agus mar Ille. He uses a phrase in one of his poems where a priest describes his brother as he is a good person. Small phrase, but captures everything, and certainly Matt is a good person. Sa leabhar seo tá filíocht, foclíocht, fialsúnacht, nádúr agus scéalaíocht. agus iad go léir fitte fúte le grá dé agus na gcósan. Between these covers, we encounter Matt the poet, the parent, the philosopher, the nature lover who shares with us perceptions, beliefs, and challenges, all enveloped with a deep humanity influenced by his own spirituality and love of neighbour, which is profound. And in his writings, Matt is at different times happy, grateful, perplexed, questioning, and at times angry. As we travel with him in this collection, he takes us back to his native Kilcrease, County Galway, to where he was shaped by his parents and his native landscape. He brings us here to his adopted Listowel, where, as has been said, he is now regarded as one of our own. He brings us to Dún, where he goes frequently to gain nourishment from the dúchas cultúr agus tradition, which imbues all he does, and further afield to Spain of the Bougainvilleas, a place to read a book or drift in dreams, to Percy Square in Limerick, and to Dublin, where observations and perceptions in the city environs are as acute as those he encounters in rural Ireland. There is a gentle calm between the covers of this book, which can be and is ruffled, however, from time to time by Matt's own impatience with events unfolding in our world today in places he mentions in the book like Mariupol, Dnipro, and Gaza. God, nature, and peace and love figure prominently in his poems. Motherhood, fatherhood, brotherhood, sisterhood, childhood all jump from these pages, recording with extreme sensitivity specific customs, encounters, and practices. Matt's mother and father had a strong influence on him, not only on his early years but throughout his life. And Matt told me that the first poem that he read in public was Wild Roses, which he read at his mother's grave in 1999. His early and formative years in Galway form much of the backdrop for these poems, and his early recollections of home, the farm, the landscape, and his application of those early memories to the here and now provide him with a continuum from season to season that overarches all his creative work. He still today draws from the happiness and peace of a child growing up. His poetry is constantly tapping into them on the farm or the local environs. Matt tries to encapsulate in verse what the layman is saying, what the ordinary people say, and how they say it. Matt is mesmerized by the language, accents, and richness of his native dialect. He says, "We've a language all of our own. The language we speak is the language of the people. Agus an loi tá dántá as Gaeilge agus as béle sa leabhar áling seo. Ní Gaeilge na leabhar atá sa bhailiúcháin seo, ach Gaeilge bhín bhlasta ná dúra dúchasach, a dálam sé a dús sa Gaelta Chonamara agus ar chuir sé bar fiáiséir I gach go Gaoine. Agus tá drú cheangal fósaige le coch go Gaoine agus Conamara ach go háirithe ina smeán." I would now, at this stage, like to read two poems and conclude with that. Both, I think, are most appropriate to read at Listowel Literary Week, which provides an opportunity for writers to be read, to be listened to be acknowledged, and to be sensitive to what is going on around us. This collection does deal with the local and the universal, but at times it takes us away from the comfort, delight, songs, and stories of the familiar, and challenge us to take more note of what is happening away from us to our fellow human beings. And it cautions us against being so preoccupied with our own affairs that we are beag bean ar an gudzered and down. The first I will read shakes us out of our complacency and challenges us to reflect. Poic spree. Cé gur bring Lord í lán na híthe, fecimíd ile slán sa bhailte sa fáic spree ba ansa leo. A léimtar an rilegáin róg a geal ghaireach a luas go heasca a luas gáin sa gúiste. Go cíochrach, a súil le hoachta roite a áilt On van born is jallag a hagan go ceolvar is gan bhuil. Táid a lí cón blasta briscan ní, gach ré ahir is móhir lú choirach a goire. Is mí cheart, gar súin gaza tá fósan a maithe a lochtú ar iad a bheith cogaíoch cean dána. Ad is atá an slad gan stad a siúl ag Israel, ar talamh is an éir an chosbhaintear I mhail. Is iad ile ar an dé deirg, seolta ag an ocras ag na stáisiún bia chun fanúin beo seall eile. Cothú ó gháile ag na haibrithe cáracha, bálaí bachacha sínta amach go cíochrach is a súileamh ortha ó líana ceann a cheann as potta olmhór an ghorta is an gal ag éirí as. Mana ó neamh is na gorta cháin ag trangráil. É guin é dochais le clos ó rubbal na scoine. Tunta tnútha déana is a bhfuil uthas sa léir, bós nó bethe na slatarí idir gá cheann na má, an leis á larab ar an gnáiteach leanúnach níl in ná dóibh ach tromlaí the law is thee. Hard to blame the kids still alive in Gaza when they are bold and belligerent, herded by the hunger at feeding stations like a host of little Olivers. They are begging bowls outstretched, each in turn frantically filled with ladles by heroic aid workers from their pots, steam rising from the gruel-like food, manna from heaven in a famine looming, ripples of desperation, waves of need, sapling bodies pressing, sweat to get a chance to live, an end to all the gnawing, a handout of hope in an endless nightmare. When they should be, careering peacefully in a local playground of slides and swings, roundabouts for jumping on and off in glee, where the ice cream van arrives in full tune, children licking their crispy, crunchy cones, proud parents congregating in conversation, admonishing their offsprings amid laughter, a distant dream in the middle of this disaster. Family means so much to Matt. And indeed, this book is dedicated to his wife Mary and to his daughters Anne, Maeve and Siobhan. And this next poem is dedicated to Mary, who is described in yet another poem as follows: to live the dream of all the people I have ever seen, it was you who helped me live the dream. And I'll end with this short poem as a tribute to her. You saw me through radiation's healing rays, those days of treatment all the summer of 16, sole solace of my now tenuous state of being. By the firs in bloom down a quiet by-road off the N69, homewards we'd stop to picnic, so self-contained, our own safe world of two. Opening the windows of my soul, you tell me the shortfalls in my quest for truth and beauty, shackled by myself, by my own inconsistency. You are ever here with me in the dance of life. In our orbits around each other, we come close to eclipsing one another, a father and a mother. Tá leabhar seo seolta, ceanna gé, please buy it, it's a gem, go raibh míle maith agat, Matt.
Go raibh míle maith agat, Eamon, as an fealsamh sin agus fáilte a chur raibh leabhar nua Matt Mooney. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you our own Matt Mooney.
After all of that now, what can I do? Only do my best. That's all I can do. You're most heartily welcome, those of you who have come here because of me. All because of me, all because of I writing a few poems. Oh my God, what happens when you do that? So that's Listowel. Listowel does that to you as well, you know. You can't get away from it. So you're most heartily welcome, Mila Fáilte. I welcome specially, I will put it bluntly, the last surviving member of my brothers and sisters, Sally, who has come from Galway, and her husband, Pat. The others have always been loyal and turning up here to all my launches. But I digress, so now I'll go ahead and read a poem or two. I read a poem called The Tribune. And of course, I will be, and I've always been eternally grateful there to Eamon. This is not his first time launching me into a new life. And Gurmahagut Eamon. Thanks a million to Revival Press, Tommy, Tommaso Quilline, Philip Untuk, Asquelin, Aaron Leona, Laura Mohiga, Tiddle Dasser, Aaron Leona, and to Dominic, the man who, Dominic Taylor, who puts up with me inside Limerick. He's talking about gurus. He's the poetry guru in Limerick. His sidekick was Barney Sheehan, the White House poets, and the loft bar and all that. And now it's the total way of life in Limerick poetry. So I give you the Tribune. Weekly beside the kitchen table, fixed in a foot on knee position, reading the Connacht Tribune. Brown, round-rimmed glasses on, smoking his yachtsman cut plug. That's how I often see my father. In from the fields in the evening, framed in an iconic sunset glow. From its ever-lengthening fingers entering through a back window, lingering lazily before lamplight, browsing through rustling pages. I used to cycle 3 miles first. The Tribune, our chronicle of life. There by 5 always at Leonard's, by zigzag narrow country roads, a night on his steed, Thursdays, getting the news, taking it home. Thank you. Back home to Listowel, where I was given a home in 1966. A fisherman's tale. If the spirits of the long line of fishermen remembered in our local lore, but now firmly forgotten by the bypass builders who come to circumvent the town and choose to cross the river Feel en route, exactly at the spot where our anglers loved to fish from early mornings in the month of March. If they were to return again and hover over their silver river westwards from the town, the Cot Hole would be the stop for fishermen in search of salmon wild and free up from the Cashan River and the sea. And they would lament for long that all was gone by the building of a bridge right across their favourite spot, by which they stud with rod and line and hook so many beauties that they begged and went away to boast about how many and what size there were, forever it seemed, in their homes and over in the pub at night. And that is why their spirits might return in force to claim their own, to where their pride was born. It could be soon, but I think it will be next March morn. And now, to wind up, and thank you very much, I'm going to read the title poem without an introduction. Very short, you have to take it in. The Moon and Báinín. The furtive, husky-coated white cat in the moonlight. On the lookout for scraps of food we put out for her. Above the crooked neck of the woods is silhouetted. A full moon steals over Coinciding on a frosty night. My daughter meanders out, moon gazing at moonlight, calling out in her delight at being brushed by Báinín. The white orb in the sky. Below, a stray bundle of joy. Each on high and low pats, one up over, one nearby. Tracking their trajectories, Siobhan is held to ransom by cat and moon. Breaking their grip, she slips inside. Thank you very much.
Got a meal with Matt. Well, hasn't it been a fantastic afternoon? As Brian McMahon would say, quoting Longfellow, Rodegin Deanta, something done. Nothing to do now but buy the books. Father Brendan will sign over here. Matt will sign there, I presume. The books are great value. Father Brendan's Prodigal Calicon's is €20 and Matt's is 15. So they gladly signed the books for you, and thank you very much for coming along. And can I say, up knock an over? Okay.